Like Rakuten does a great job of having a weekly list called the Hot List of sites and content creators for brands to consider. Commission Junction sends out an email. ShareASale has a recruitment apparatus. So I think the whole industry would be better if content creators spend a little bit more time understanding how the networks work. And one more add to that, all of them have free courses. So that's why I say headphone time. Make coffee or tea, whatever your libation of choice is.
Hello, guys. Welcome to the party. Gosh, I wish I had like a great story to tell you about why my voice sounds so raspy today. Like, we had such a killer New Year's Eve. I literally posted on my Instagram how I did a puzzle that night. So that's not the case. Luckily, I don't have COVID, thank God. But I just feel like everyone's freaking sick this time of year. So I am not excluded. I put off recording this intro because I was like, oh, it can't sound crazy. I'm just going to sound a little crazy, but I'm just going to own it. Maybe there's someone who's listening who's like, dang, she sounds sexy. And I'm just going to lean into it and hope that you all feel like that. You all probably don't. Okay, so this week we have incredible guest. This is a guest episode, an interview episode. You guys are going to love it because Blagica was on a panel of ours just a couple months ago, which was so well attended and got really, really great feedback. And the panel was all on affiliate marketing. Now, I know that affiliate marketing is certainly nothing new, but I do feel like there's been this really exciting resurgence with affiliate marketing. And I've sensed that creators have been more open to it. Whereas a few years ago, when I was managing talent, I remember my influencers were like, no way, I am beyond in affiliate marketing. I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to be paid per sale. I want to be paid a flat fee. So we'll get into it in this episode about we don't think the sweet spot is either extreme. It's somewhere in the middle where you're getting compensated fairly for your time, for your audience, for the content you're creating. But now there's an additional incentive when you do make a sale for affiliate marketing, and there's so much data that's available. So there's just been a mindset shift. So I definitely wanted to invite Blagica back on the show. Also, she's an Emmy award-winning digital marketing expert. So that's cool to have her on the show. She's also just very open, transparent. She's got 25 years of experience in the industry, really truly started at the very beginning and has so much information to share with you guys. So what a great way to kick off the year. I'm so excited for you to hear from Blagica. Enjoy, guys. This show is sponsored by Women in Influencer Marketing, better known as WIM, the best online community for the creator economy. You will meet fellow influencer marketers, you'll meet brands, you'll meet talent agencies to talk shop, get hired, and even find a mentor. When you become a member, do not forget to check out all of our incredible resources. For example, we have dozens of masterclasses from the top voices at TikTok, at YouTube, award-winning agencies, and women who are paving the way for us all. So if you want the chance to network with a who's who in influencer marketing, check out what it takes to become a member. Make more money and have fun doing it. Visit iamwim.com/join. That's iamwim.com/join today. And I so look forward to seeing you more around the community. So first and foremost, I'm very excited to have you on the podcast. I feel again, because you were on a panel with us, just a few months ago, I guess, but
Yeah.
It's nice to see you. It's nice to have you this time on the podcast. How's your week going so far?
It's good. We are winding down the year. And it's always cliche when people say, I can't believe it's the end of the year, but I truly can't. I'm one of those folks who, and we'll talk about this, I'm sure, during the chat, but I really believe in living in the day and really,
Totally.
taking the marrow out of the day, whether it's good or bad. And I always use, actually, this week, I like to work ahead, meaning, yes, I'm enjoying my holiday and family time and break, but I don't know about you, Jesse, but this week when it's kind of quiet, a lot of folks are on holiday, maybe going someplace warm. It's really, I feel like I'm in college again because it's when I double down. Like I research things I want to check out. I tinker with things. I noodle. I get myself a planner every year from Shinola. They make watches, but they also make great paper goods. I'm here in Detroit and I map out the next 6 months. This is the week that I do it.
I love that. I get that. For me, it's like this week is quiet enough that I have the mental capacity to do some
Yes,
of the things exactly what you're describing. Like
exactly.
things sort of slow down so that you have the day to day that you're usually bogged down with. You
Hmm.
have the space to be able to
Yeah.
do all those like nice to haves. By the way, we're recording the 27th of December. So like very close to the end of the year. I know this episode's probably going to come out in January. So I
Mhm.
have a feeling probably many people hopefully can relate to that. And if you can't, like, take Blagitza's advice because, like, truly, this is such
Mhm.
a good time of year to just be able to just like enjoy the slow, like, take advantage of the slowdown.
It's like a reset.
Yeah, totally. So, okay. So I want to back up a little bit. I think, so I mentioned briefly, you were on our affiliate marketing panel and
Yeah.
you were recommended to me. That's where we connected by someone else who's in the community who was like, okay, like I was looking for people who were just like rock stars in affiliate marketing and like really understand that world. I'm not that person. And I was sitting there learning so much genuinely in that panel discussion. So, we had, I think it's a cool place to start. So some people might have tuned into that, but for anyone who didn't, can you maybe start? You have so much experience in that world and in other worlds as well, which we'll get into in just a
Mhm.
bit. But like, tell us a little bit about your background in affiliate marketing and also how affiliate marketing has like really evolved and changed into what it's become today.
For sure. And it's a really great journey and path. And to your point, where affiliate marketing is today is uber exciting. I'm also ethnic and I talk with my hands a lot. So I'm like first generation Macedonian, so my hands are always like this. So to those that are watching, don't be surprised. So I started in the affiliate marketing space almost by accident because no joke, lady, 25 years ago, when I started my digital career out of school, I started at Orbitz in 2001 and I was on the first digital marketing team. Actually, it was called e-commerce marketing back in the day. And that's when we had no playbooks. At the time, the airlines were the funders of Orbitz in the beginning. The 5 airlines got their cash together, made Orbitz. And it was trial by fire. We were doing everything from keyword, from SEM, SEO. I was serving ads on ESPN. I learned how to serve ads when it was double click before Google bought them. And then as the journey went on about things to do on the internet, affiliate marketing came up. It was like, okay, Blagica, figure it out and launch it. Okay. So affiliate marketing, the essence of it from the early days, which still rings true today, but it's more complex, is simple to those who don't know what it is. Let's say you are a brand like Sephora or Macy's or Nordstrom, and you have this online component. Okay. Early days of affiliate marketing, different types of websites, even pre blog, would list your products, goods, or services often when there's a sale. When a consumer would visit that site, they would click, they go to Macy's, they buy something, consumer gets a deal or they get the product, the website where it came from would get a commission. That is still the essence and the ethos of affiliate marketing. Okay. So in the early days of affiliate marketing, and I'll say this to my grave, affiliate marketing was always considered a stepchild in digital marketing. It kind of still is, but it's getting better because of the revenue models. Folks used to look at it and say, "Oh, that's interesting, that's great." But the ROI was always fantastic because the marketer, the brand, in theory, would only pay when a sale takes place. You pay a commission, which was still and is still today considerably less than like paying for a billboard or paying for programmatic advertising or paying for a large sponsorship. But we'll talk about the way that affiliate marketing revenues changed. So that's still around. Okay, so there's still the essence today of influencers, bloggers, content creators are now coming into the affiliate marketing space. Why? What's changed? So our friends at Google and Meta have helped, and Apple have helped change the game in which e-marketing works. So there's this joke that we all have as consumers. I went to Zappos and those shoes keep following me around the internet. That's because of something called the one by one pixel or cookie tracking. And that type of activity is what was used most often by large brands and companies to advertise to the consumer. They may not know that it's Jesse, but they knew that it was your IP address.
So, question real quick,
Mhm.
isn't some of that going away or hasn't like
Yeah.
there been come more regulation on that?
Yes, correct. That's what's changing. So
Got
that's
it.
going away. So that was kind of the OG way of online marketing because it was so efficient. Girl, I cannot remember how much of my conversations in my digital career was, "Is the pixel on the site? I forgot the pixel. Don't forget to put the pixel," because that pixel tracking helped keep track of the ads that we bought on
It was
other people's
everything. It was
websites.
everything. Yeah.
So to your point, it's going away. Now, let's pause. If you are what's called a publisher, like Hearst, like ESPN, like Food Network, whomever it may be, you used to rely on all those ads on your site that were being used with the tracking we just discussed. That's going away. And those brands, those companies are no longer utilizing that as much, which means you, the publisher, aren't making the money you used to. Oh, crap. Enter affiliate marketing. So, affiliate marketing has been used by many big publishers we all know as consumers. One great example of that is I love the New York Times and their offshoot, Wirecutter. So, Wirecutter has for quite some time, their editors, their writers are like consumer product and service ninjas. They will review every coffee pot, they will review 15 backpacks, whatever it may be, and they utilized the eyeballs already on the New York Times for this other entity. Because as consumers, as readers, we trust the Times. So if they launch this other thing, like I'm an avid user of the New York Times cooking app, love that thing. So why wouldn't I read Wirecutter? You'll notice that now many of those websites will have a little bit of like italicized font at the top. We may earn commissions from these links. That's affiliate marketing. So Wirecutter's done that for some time. But now you have other big publishers following suit, the Condis of the world, everyone from Forbes to Fortune to Men's Health to Daily Beast, they're all doing it. And what's also changed, because and now let's talk about the influencer side. Before larger brands really understood how to connect to the consumer, as quite frankly, creators and influencers always have, brands used to take large budgets. Let's say Jane Doe beauty influencer, because I actually worked on a beauty brand. I worked on Fashion Fair Cosmetics. At that time, many of the brands didn't have things figured out. They couldn't connect with their consumers like the creators would. They used to pay larger chunks of sponsorship money to the Janes of the world to get to Jane's audience on YouTube, Insta, whatever. But the problem was those brands weren't getting the ROI that they would hope to get with a $20 or $30,000 flat fee sponsorship. So brands still do that, but they've scaled back a bit, which is causing, which isn't a bad thing, influencers and creators from a revenue model standpoint to embrace affiliate marketing to gain commissions on sales that they help drive for those brands. So to sum up, you've got two sections. The larger content publishers lost revenue. They need to get that back. And then influencers and content creators needed a way to also make revenue because the larger sponsorship deals were decreasing. And the commonality in both, affiliate marketing.
So interesting. I mean, it almost sounds like a lifesaver for in all of those scenarios, right? Like when you're talking about like, I don't know, just like the publishers with their affiliate models. Like I've seen all the ones that you've mentioned, every
Mhm.
single one of them. Like they
Yep.
all have, they produce these like guides of sorts or
Yes.
like just recommended products and they
Yep.
all make commissions. I think of like BuzzFeed. I used to
Mhm.
love those. And like,
Mm.
yeah, BuzzFeed,
Yes.
such an affiliate, like such an affiliate play. And they would come out with like all these like I guess it depends on like they all have different styles and different so like whatever
Mhm.
one is sort of your style or your like your cup of tea, like that's the one you gravitate to. For me, it was just like BuzzFeed all day, every day. So okay, that's interesting. And I think like also I'd love for you to explain, this is just me like nerding out for a second, like
Really.
like I'm sure you're aware of like what is the reason that the pixel is going as away? Is it like a privacy thing? Is
Yes.
that the concern?
Yes, it is a privacy thing. So I'm so thankful that I've been around as long as I've been around to see the evolution of things happening. But I gotta say, as a consumer, it makes sense. There's a lot of drama or discussion about I still don't think that the powers that be in Congress really know how the internet works. Like, sometimes they go so extreme with things. At the same time, if you look at like I have friends who work and live in Europe, they've really taken privacy to another level that's for the consumer. So I get it. I get the privacy concerns. And that's really, why, if you think back even before that, the situation that happened with Facebook and data brokers and the way that people would be targeted on Facebook, it kind of all rolled together. So I think it's a cleaner system. I think it's also, quite frankly, marketing because Apple's always been on the forefront of privacy and their Safari browser and their Apple products. I think other folks like Google are following suit along with Meta. So I kind of, in that respect, I would argue that Apple led the way with that. And the rest of the larger entities are listening to what the consumer's been saying about privacy. But here's the rub. Then going back to the publishers, consumers need to also be aware because look, I just did this the other day. I have been looking for leggings and looking for a different brand of legging. And I went to Google search and I typed in the parameter of legging I was looking for. And the top, because look, I'm a consumer, but like you, I nerd out on some things. The top 10 results were news-esque articles and listicles, but they all had that affiliate commission counterpart. Why am I saying this to you? Because here's a little bit of the Wizard of Oz component, the man behind the machine. In many cases, Jesse, a lot of those write-ups and listicles aren't always organic. They're not always neutral because the larger publishers now, the reason why affiliate marketing is getting so interesting, they're no longer just relying on a commission. Affiliate marketing is now getting the placement budgets that traditional digital marketing would get. So, large publisher B might say, "Hey, we would love to cover that new technology accessory your company launched or your client launched. We'd be happy to include it in an article for $10,000." So they're getting both a commission and they're getting that revenue that they lost from the traditional ads. And because they're getting amazing SEO juice, because they always existed as great SEO resources like being news sources, they're part of what the consumer sees right away. So the brand kind of needs to look at their budgets. And this is what I would say to brands: you can't just think affiliate marketing as commission only and not have any type of budget for a publisher or an influencer. Because if an influencer, whether they're smaller or bigger, I would argue they're also putting skin in the game in terms of creating content or checking out your product or service. And they're helping with what's called top of funnel awareness. Your earlier question, what's changed? Affiliate marketing was always bottom of the funnel. Click, convert, click, convert. Now it's the whole thing. It's awareness, it's consideration, and it's also conversion.
It's really interesting that you say that. I think a lot of people would agree with you, but also just specifically because they see influencers as publishers. They're all micro and sometimes macro publishers. So
Yes.
it makes a lot of sense. And simply like having, whether it's an influencer or a publication, essentially endorse a product or service, there is value to that, right? Because if they're on a recommended product or service from Forbes, like the behind the scenes of Forbes, like
Mhm.
it looks very different, but many people don't. Like if you
Right.
know the behind the scenes, it's very pay to, it's pretty much like all pay to play. Like
Uh-huh.
all of it, but there's this level of credibility that is
Yes.
provided and there's that additional value. So that's really, really interesting to think of it like that. And so yeah, what an evolution there's been. And so with the
But
lack of the pixel, I don't
mhm.
know, I like to think of it as like myself as a consumer more often than a marketer because I think that perspective is so invaluable.
Yeah.
So like because I love having the internet work for me. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Like
Yes.
like I understand, and I also value having privacy protections and things like that. I don't think that it should be like this wild west of an internet. I do think that's important. But I also do like for the internet, if I put in a search, like, sure, serve me all the things that you think I'm going to want. Like, make
Yeah.
my life easy. I'm all for that. So I guess it's a fine balance. But to your point, I could not agree with you more that like the governments in many countries, like which are supposedly, theoretically, supposed to be writing up these laws to protect the citizens, just don't understand it enough to be able to make those determinations. So
Yeah,
it's
it's getting better. I know that folks on the Hill have interns and assistants and analysts to help them. I think they have more than they used to. But the other addition to all this that cracks me up about the pay to play. So I spent some time working at Edelman, which was phenomenal from a PR perspective and helping with digital communications. And there's certain things you do that I did back then and habits that can't go away. Like I watch recordings or live streams of the Today Show, Good Morning America, and The View because I like to understand what America's listening to and what's the news of the day, given we're recording this during the holidays. And not, if you watch any of the morning shows, they have like the Daily Deal. Here's the GME. It's all QR code, and all of that is affiliate marketing IRL. So when you're watching the Today Show or watching Good Morning America and they pick the deals and steals, and by the way, because Good Morning America and The View are ABC shows, you'll see some products on Good Morning America, and then later you'll see them on The View. There's a QR code on your screen. Click it, you get a link, and that's all affiliate marketing and commissions. The other in person, well, IRL example was the Wall Street Journal. So the Journal recently got into the game of affiliate marketing. I shouldn't say game, but strategy with their publication or their brand called Buy Side. What was really wicked, I think it was last year, they had the Wall Street Journal, the paper, like this, and they had all the products listed with QR codes in the paper for you to you can take your phone in real life, QR code it, go and buy. When that happened, I was like, you know, when you're by yourself and there's no one around you that knows what you do, you're like, "This is so cool," but no one I can't explain it to anybody. I was with my
But
friend.
it is because it makes the user experience so
Yeah.
good. It makes it like this
Yep.
instantaneous, like you're not gonna lose that sale. Because I think that could be a concern sometimes. You're like, well, like from I've heard influencers say, "I wanna do affiliate marketing, but like, sometimes when I do it, it's not necessarily gonna capture all the sales," right? Because
Right.
sometimes that just might be the first introduction to a brand, and then they don't use your link or your QR code or whatever it is, and I don't get credit for it. What would you say to those people? Because I do think that is a concern. Are there ways to sort of like hack that, combat that? What would you say to that issue?
100%. So if you are a content creator, an influencer, and you're about to do a deal with someone in any way, shape, or form, I would ask them if they have the capacity with their team, brand, agency, whomever it is, to truly look at the path of the consumer so you can also get credit for the initial introduction. So, example, this hydro flask. It isn't a Stanley. I do like my hydro. This hydro flask, if I'm selling this on Insta, and I got both a code and a link in my link tree. You could ask for both. Sometimes a link is easier to follow in terms of the path. At the same time, if a brand and their agency work together to understand the analytics of the brand site, they should be able to track the code and also the traffic. They should be able to say that they are able to see what traffic came from your site, whether it's that code or that click. And if a sale does take place, they should negotiate different levels of commissions, whether you were the direct introducer, like someone clicked on my link for HydroFast, boom, they bought, my commission's higher. Or if I was someone who introed it, I still get some skin in the game because I introduced it. Now, that could be in the form of upfront flat fee. And that's why I push back on brands with it's not black and white. So either there should be some budget in place for a creator because the creator may not get that commission even for 30, 60, 90 days. The brand should increase the look back period to more than 30 days. So for folks that don't know affiliate marketing, in most cases, it's set up where it's like 30-day tracking. But in the case of a creator who's introducing someone and then somebody may not show up on their TikTok until like 2 months later because the algorithm recommends that TikTok post. If they see something they like and the link is there, if it's 60 days, it'd be nice if that was still active for the credit. But there's like different levels of ways to compensate creators. And what I feel missing in the space on all sides, from the creator, influencer to the brand to agencies, is one word: patience. Well,
Yes.
and patience to strategize. Like if the creator comes back and says, and this happens a lot, to be honest, I don't do anything that's only commissions. I don't think folks should stop the conversation. There should be a why, because the creator has to understand that there's risk upfront from the brand when it comes to working with them for the first time. And then the creator has to understand that piece. But the brand has to understand that if they want X many posts from the creator to provide some type of monetary something upfront, for the creator to be incentivized, whether it's double commission, something, whatever that brand can afford, it is truly creating individual partnerships, creator by creator. And I think there is just such a speed to just have sales. And sorry to the brands out there, but and many times it's because the brands say, we're going to do affiliate marketing and everyone's going to buy something. It's going to be phenomenal. And the ROI will be off the charts. It takes 3 to 6 months to truly set up an affiliate program with relationships and trust. And it's like wooing. You're individually wooing everybody from Forbes, what's the Pure Wow, to sweater TikTok expert. It's one-on-one wooing. It's like dating, but people don't have the patience, it seems, anymore. So I think that large brands, if anyone on the brand's watching this, you have to have some patience and internally explain to your counterparts at the brand, whether it's executives or procurement, what this process is and how long it may take. It's still going to rock. Your ROI is going to, be better than most digital channels, but it may not happen right away.
And that's very similar to influencer marketing generally, like strategies. I feel like a lot of people who maybe don't understand that world will just jump into it and be like, oh, this is like the hottest thing. Like, I'll just jump into it, I'll invest, and immediately I'll see the results that I want to see. And so I appreciate you saying that because, like, for anyone who's listening and hasn't done it yet, like, don't get discouraged. Like, don't give up if just because you're not seeing traction right away. But like Blagica is saying, like, 3 6 months sometimes it could take time, but like that is normal. You're supposed to, like, that is expected. That's not abnormal. That's just what it takes. So I love a good hack. I know our listeners love like good hacks. So I asked you to, like, what are some hacks of affiliate marketing? We're talking a little bit about influencer. So like what are some additional hacks for whether it's affiliate marketing, influencer marketing, just things
Mhm.
that you've learned over your career that you think our listeners should keep in mind?
It's not unfortunate of a hack, but one thing that discourages folks about affiliate marketing when they get in it, it's kind of like Burger King. Not saying you should eat meat, but in affiliate marketing, there's different networks and they all work differently. And
And like, can we name some even?
oh
Because
yeah,
there's so many to
yep,
know about. Yeah. I
yep.
mean, what are some of the ones that you are in most often that you think people should know of the most?
Commission Junction, Rakuten, which used to be called Linkshare, Share a Sale, Partnerize, Pepper Jam, Reversion, I think AvantLink, did I say AvantLink? Impact. Those are all networks. And when you might hear, like, what does that mean? In affiliate marketing, and whatever affiliate marketing activity takes place, there is a network that connects the affiliate program with all the affiliates. So this is the source of truth. All the reporting in terms of the sales and clicks for the affiliate channel rest within the network. Each network has its own magic buttons. Like they have their own ways they work with content creators. Like Impact, for example, has a really sharp creator, like even a recruitment situation. But a lot of other networks have partnered with influencer networks to make it easier for brands to find influencers. From a hack perspective, it really will behoove any content creator to look at the brands they work with or the brands they want to work with and reach out to them with the why. Now, you all might be thinking that's not a quick hack. Well, let me explain why. I've seen a lot of emails from influencers that'll say, I'd like to work with you. I'm awesome. I have X many followers. But to take a little extra time to look at the brand, see where the fits are, and do more like 2 to 3 sentences more of a pitch will go such a long way. Similarly, when brands or agencies are pitching content creators, they should be doing the same thing. From a hack perspective, my joke, not joke, but my tip about anything in life is what I call my headphone time. If you're a content creator, influencer looking to make additional revenue and really get in the affiliate marketing game, girl, I cannot tell you how many videos I've seen on TikTok about affiliate marketing. You could do this in your sleep. Just sign up for my blah, blah, blah. No, it takes sweat equity. Pick a network as an affiliate and really understand how it works. Reach out to that network because part of the hack, when brands on the networks do well, the networks make money. So the Sephoras, the Ultas, the Nordstroms, when they have sales for their affiliate channel, they're paying commissions to the affiliates. They're also paying a fee to the network. So it behooves the network for the sales to go up because they make more cash. So the networks are liaisons to the content creators as well. So it would behoove the content creator to approach these networks and find out who's on the recruitment teams, because in most cases, they're set up by vertical. So Rakuten, Commission Junction may have separate verticals for different types of like fashion, beauty, health and fitness, and they'll help you and pitch you into programs. Because when I'd be managing programs, I would get emails from networks and they pitch people. Like Rakuten does a great job of having a weekly list called the hot list of sites and content creators for brands to consider. Commission Junction sends out an email. ShareASale has a recruitment apparatus. So I think the whole industry would be better if content creators spend a little bit more time understanding how the networks work. And one more add to that, all of them have free courses. So that's why I say headphone time. Make coffee or tea, whatever your libation of choice is. Maybe don't binge watch the latest Netflix episode or show for a few nights and figure it out. And then get your plan of attack of, certain networks are known to have certain types of brands in them. And if, you have an impact might be the type of network where you have brands you want to work with, study it, reach out and let them know that you want to be the person they recommend to all these brands and here's why. I've seen media kits from influencers and content creators, and the number of followers is important, but not as much anymore. It's important, but brands and affiliate programs are looking for engagement rate. If you're posting about your awesome jeans that fit so amazing and they move with you in different sizes, what is happening on your comments? Are people engaging with you and are you talking back and having that conversation? You'd be surprised as to how many content creators just still don't talk to their audience and
I've
expect,
seen it. I actually saw it
you know
recently on a piece
Yeah,
of content that I noticed all this wonderful commentary back, questions, and I'm thinking from a brand's perspective, I'm like, "Oh, this is great," and I see no replies.
right, right. Like,
It's
even if you had,
insane.
like, an intern or somebody replying would be helpful. But I wanted to ask you, so you mentioned something earlier about, like, patience and whatnot. What are you hearing from your network of influencers in terms of patience or in terms of, like, do they feel any pressure from brands to, like, jump, sell? Do you like, is that still happening? What are you seeing in the space?
Oh, 1,000%. Yeah. I feel like there's such a friction still very much so between the creators and the brands because I feel like in the past like 2 to 3 years, it's been a much stronger shift away from any sort of awareness play. And there's been this insane amount of pressure to
Yep.
perform and to produce and to sell, which is natural and it makes sense. But I think that it's too extreme, it's too black and white. And the truth or like the sweet spot is usually in the middle. And in this case, I think that it is. It takes time to be able to warm up an audience, to be
Yeah,
able to have an affinity and trust the product, not the person, but the product. It's still very challenging from a creator's perspective when they're like, I want to be able to build up that rapport. I want to be able to time, like but I need time to do it.
Yeah.
And too often a brand will say, well, it's one post, one this, one that, and that's your one opportunity to do it. And it's almost like setting people up for failure. But the pressure is very much so being felt, I think, by the creators. And I just think, like, from any other perspective, like, I'm not a creator. So, like, in my job, in your job, in our everyday lives when we're working, like, sure, some people thrive under really high pressure situations, but some people don't. Like, some people just need different environment to work under. Some people need to be encouraged, or, like, given more resources or given more whatever it is, but everybody works differently. And I think that's the challenge, because most people are trying to look at influencer marketing, affiliate marketing, especially, I can imagine, at scale, and to see what the scalability. And I've said on this podcast many times, and I'll say it again, like, I have such a issue with that, because I don't think that any sort of relationship, like arrangement, it can be really truly scaled. So we're like approaching it in this way that we're really truly like setting ourselves up for failure. If the hope is that we're going to scale this thing, like, it's not. I personally don't think it's scalable. What are your thoughts on scaling affiliate marketing, scaling influencer marketing? Like, do you think there's a path for that, or what are your thoughts?
That's one of my beefs. So I agree with you. And the scaling issue is coming through because digital marketers, especially the C-suite, many of which have not been practitioners, they want the scale replaced with the scale that went away in the form of the traditional old digital marketing model. Because they could take their shoe, just making this up. Steve Madden launches a shoe. Steve Madden used to be able to forget Steve Madden, Orbitz. When I was at Orbitz, we used to take big Vegas sale coming up or new hotel launching. We used to go to a boatload of websites with a lot of money and say, we are going to flood the interwebs with our banners, pop-ups, display, 468 by 60s all over the place. Scale. Now that's gone. So you have these brands who are launching amazing products and services, but like, oh, we need people to know. Oh, affiliate marketing has the best ROI in most cases. Go. But the irony is that is kind of what I call like a digital hand to hand, like combat in a good way of like every single website, every single person is a relationship. Now that's where relationships and experience in the affiliate space comes in, where somebody has that trust, where they can call 10 publishers, 10 creators, be like, hey, I've got this brand, I have the service, they're amazing, it's a good fit for you. Will you launch quickly? That is when you get scale, but I'll say scale-ish. So there's still so much education, Jesse, that it doesn't exist on the brand side that like many of us are still trying to convey. And why? And this is where the content creator, affiliate marketer, it's hard, but you have to have empathy because most cases, the person managing the affiliate program at the brand has to answer to other people who don't know what it is. And then other cases, because I've been there because I was on the brand side, that person is basically working to fill one cell on an Excel spreadsheet about their division. Because most people at the brand, when it comes to digital marketing, will look at how is SEM doing? How is paid social doing? How is programmatic doing? How is affiliate doing? And you're working your tail off for this cell for the C-suite person to look at it and compare, but they have no idea what happens in here. But that C-suite person kind of understands the rest, but you're just supposed to make magic happen. And that frustration from the person managing the program is what might come back to their agency or come back to the publisher. That's got to stop. I think any C-suite, any CMO, and I do think CMOs are changing because they have more analytics and the more digital marketing background. But every CMO really needs to almost take a crash course in every single element of their marketing channels to really understand how it works. Once that happens, I think we'll get to a better place, but we're not there yet. But on the flip side, if you are someone coming out of school and have any interest in digital marketing in any sense, affiliate marketing is so hungry and needs folks who are junior, willing to learn, want to learn, even just practitioners all the way up because of What I mentioned before, the networks are all different. We didn't even talk about like fraud, understanding how to reverse transactions, product feeds. Managing a program is a whole different ball of wax. It's exciting. And from a future perspective, all the publishers, if you look on LinkedIn or, jobs in general, we call this in content and commerce director, commerce manager. That's essentially the yin and the yang. There's the editor at the in style, and then there's the commerce person in style. And they're church and state because and people might wonder, how does this happen? Well, every publisher wants to write about what they want to write about and have that editorial ability. But in many cases, if this article does really well about my black sweater, chances are they might stick an affiliate link on that article because the traffic's so great. It's fascinating to me. That's why I kind of came back into the space to pinch hit different programs. But from a creator standpoint, I think there is no problem for a creator to go back to a brand or an agency and ask them about analytics and tracking to truly make sure that their work is being tracked all the way through to whether it's higher commissions up front or a flat fee or increasing the return days, the look back period.
Yeah, those are really, really good tips because I think, I don't know if you're alluding to this or I'll just share what I've seen is like there's a mistrust there on the influencers side. I've heard this from many, many creators. And I don't know if it's a product of, there's so many commission companies out there, like all the ones you named. And then there's, the LTKs, the
Yes.
collective voices, like there's so many more even, but they all operate a little bit differently. They have different standards, they have different technology. I mean, at their core, they're like technology based companies, but they all operate a little bit differently. And so I think that's why so wise what you're saying, which is like sort of find which one sort of attracts brands that are you're attracted to, and then maybe like really go in hard with maybe that one or maybe two or three max, at least to start, because
Yes.
you'll build those relationships and you'll be able to grow those partnerships because of it. But I think, yeah, to your point, it's there, asking those questions is really important, making sure it's in your agreement. Those few points specifically that you mentioned are very crystal clear
Yeah.
in your agreement and your understanding of the agreement. I would love to also ask what we're in this very particular time of year. We're like right at the cusp of 2023 to 2024. Again, I know this episode will come out in January, but I'm curious from your perspective because you have such a, I don't know, I think it's so cool where you sit and you've had so much experience on different sides. What's been most surprising to you when you reflect back on 2023? And then what are you most excited about for come 2024?
Influencer affiliate related?
I'll even open it up. I mean, I would say yes, but like, I don't know if there's something else that you want to share. Like, that's cool too. Either one, take it in whatever
Yeah.
direction you want.
I'll combine a couple of trends. I'll combine an influencer trend with like real life. So I'm a mom. I have two kids. I have a 14-year-old daughter and 10-year-old boy. And what's blowing my mind is the influencer side of things. And there was just an article I read this week about it. The influencer side of things when it comes to beauty and like 14-year-olds, my daughter, like she's introducing things to me that I didn't even touch until I was 21. Also, my daughter has a smartphone, but she has no social media accounts. She uses Pinterest, but she sees enough with YouTube shorts and whatnot because she draws and designs and she'll get the videos that pop up. That fascinates me in terms of the beauty brands and how they're adjusting their marketing and picking creators to really hone in on a certain demographic. To me, that's fascinating. What's also the trend of 2023, which has always been a trend, I think it's a more reality check for brands in general. Look, folks were uneasy about the economy the whole year. The whole year. People still spent. We just saw from Q4 that online spending was up. But here's the other, it's not new, but I tell brands this all the time. Consumers still like a good deal. So even if it's a luxury brand, whatever it may be, consumers either want a great deal. So coupons aren't going away. Offers and discounts aren't going away. And if it's not a good deal, They want to understand the story of the brand. So, an example of a brand that I love, I've been following them since they launched from a practitioner standpoint, the story, the how, is Quince. Quince makes really great clothing and home pieces, and they pride themselves in going to almost direct to the consumer, having great materials, and they don't often have sales. They really don't, but they're really good at building that story and helping somebody understand why their products fit into their lives, and it's consistent. So to me, it's again the patience of storytelling that is so important. Introducing brands to audiences that are younger, but then also the reality that deals and discounts and coupons aren't going to go away. And brands, and this has happened multiple times to me, who come say to me, "We aren't a discount brand. We don't wanna be associated." Like, "Okay, that's fair, but what have you done and how long have you been in the marketplace for folks to think that?" What do I mean by that? What you're gonna see, so 2024, you're going to see more brands hopping into affiliate marketing. You are going to see what's called challenger brands come into the space. Challenger brands are those brands that you're seeing on Facebook and Insta all the time. They're direct to consumer. You won't find them in the stores right away. They might get distribution later. They're killing it with paid social ads, and they're killing it with social, like overall TikTok and Insta. Then they come into affiliate marketing, and because most of them also have investors and VCs, they're expecting quick results. So the irony is, it's a challenger brand that might go up against the big dog, and they're doing well. But the similarity they have with the big dog brand is they hop into affiliate marketing and think they'll be instant success because, well, we tapped paid social, we tapped keywords, let's get into affiliate marketing. And then I'm kind of like the buzzkill, I'm like, that's cool, but you're still an unknown to these 6 publishers. You still aren't known to them or their audience or them making the time to create content for you. You still have to sell, or like you or I have to help sell in to these folks. So 2024 is interesting to me to see how many more publishers and brands come to the table to launch affiliate programs. And I'm excited that I think 2023 was the year of creators sitting back and wondering, should I be in affiliate marketing? Does it work? Do they get me? And I think 2024 is going to be a bit of a hockey stick growth with creators learning about the channel and getting smarter about it because they have the audience. As far as I'm concerned, I think the cards are in favor of the content creator and the bigger publishers. The brands will come along. Their budgets will come along, but the quicker that influencers and content creators can learn about the space and how to maximize it for themselves, the better. The brands have the cash. They just have to redistribute it how it goes over to another channel.
Well, I think like the reality is what you were talking about a bit before was there's been a dip in brand partnership
Mhm.
compensation, just like
Yeah.
budgets. So I think that like influencers are just going to have a couple different options. They can sit and wait for those to pick up again. And maybe it will, maybe it won't, maybe it will slightly and not quite be what it used to be. Or they're going to get more resourceful and smarter, like you said, and maybe this will be the push to like explore affiliate that they were maybe skeptical about
Yes.
before, but then they get there and they're like, "Oh, wait a
Mhm.
second. This is
Yeah.
amazing." So maybe that'll just be the push for a certain amount of them that will be pleasantly surprised with what they find. I assume there will be a big crop of people who will experience that. And like we're in just like a really cool setup. I just feel like there's more resources for creators, more people sharing
Mhm.
information. So I also assume that like with that exposure, they will also have access to all this education, ways to optimize it. Like you said, you can go on freaking TikTok and find affiliate marketing content for days. Some
Mhm.
of it's BS, but
Yeah.
like some of it is very valid and you'll be
Mhm.
able to hopefully discern which one is valid, which one, is actually helpful, and like you can make a killing with it. So, but not all partners are created equal. Not everybody is created equal. So I think
Yeah.
it's a matter of like skepticism is healthy
Yep.
and do your research, like approach it with like a healthy level of skepticism and you'll be good to go. I think that's a really good thing to be excited about for 2024 for sure. You also touched on earlier that your mom of
Yep.
2, as somebody, I have a stepdaughter, so many people who are listening are also working parents, and I
Mhm.
think that that is such a we don't talk about it enough. Like, we
Yep.
don't talk about it enough. How, like, I'm recording this right now. My stepdaughter's home with my fiance downstairs doing a science project because her science project is due like the day she comes back from school. Thanks, school. But like, I don't think that enough people, women in particular, are really being honest about what that means for a lot of us who our identities are almost equally wrapped up sometimes in being like in the matriarch of our family,
Mhm.
but also loving what we do in our careers and like how to balance it. I don't think that they are perfectly can ever be perfectly balanced,
Right.
but that's just my opinion. I'm curious about your opinion. How do you make space for enjoying motherhood, but also enjoying the crap out of your work? How do you manage the two?
That's a great question, and I'll be completely honest. So, as I mentioned, my kids are 14 and 10. And I'm not gonna lie, when they were younger, it was tough. It was tough. My kids are 3 years apart, and when I was starting out, I really contemplated, am I doing the right thing? I missed out on some steps. And so the way that my husband and I did it, I'm married. My husband and I, when the kids were small, we were living in Chicago and we looked at when I was partners with my first, okay, what do we want to do? And we decided that one of our incomes was going to go to, care. So Michael decided to stay home. So Michael stayed home with our daughter, and he's a sommelier. And he was with our daughter. Then he started consulting. Then he was doing events. And then his consulting took off, but he was still able to watch our daughter at the same time. It was nuts. And then our second came along. So I went through a lot of mom guilt, and I sometimes still do. But now that my kids are older and they've seen the path, we talk about it all the time. They know that if I'm frustrated or if I'm stressed, I'm not a good mom. I'm not a good contributor to the household, and that I love what I do. Like, my daughter especially knows I love what I do. She knows that I've had my own companies, run my own things. She knows the whole story. And if there's times that I can't be at a certain place at a certain time, I'm honest with her. But also, Jesse, we have laptops and mobility, and we have a different work life environment that didn't exist when my kids were babies and toddlers. I think that is phenomenal. And I think that is a gift. I don't like the pandemic. I think it was awful. But that change of work, I think, has opened the door to so many things. However, I'm in my 40s now, and I come across a lot of women, a lot of moms that want to do a change in their careers. And many of them are being forced to, given changes of work and so on. And they're tired, understandably so. Because I've always been a tinkerer and I've always been like, my office upstairs is like NASA. I've got monitors. I've always been that tech gadget person, like figure stuff out. I'm on like, Jesse, I made my husband's holiday gift with AI. Like, I made
I love
piece of
that
art
so
using AI.
much.
That's me.
Ah, I love it.
I tell my girlfriends and I'll tell moms today, if you're in your 30s, if you're in your 40s, we are living longer now compared to, God willing, older generations. There is time to learn something different, and it's okay to pause and just figure out what makes you happy, and it's okay to start learning something new, but you have to make some choices. I mentioned binging Netflix shows, which I love to do, but the excitement I have for the internet and technology today is what it is because so much of it didn't exist back in 2001. The stuff you can learn for free if you just put in the time, things you can build, things you can build upon. It isn't going to happen overnight. It's not, but the possibilities are there. So, as a mom, my husband and I did have our moments when the kids were small, just figuring out roles, dynamic, schedule. It's not roses. And I truly do not think that women can have everything. Women can have things and almost everything, but not at the same time.
Totally.
That is not told to us enough as women. It's just now in my mid 40s where I'm like, okay, this summer I went away for 5 days. I said to I love our world and tinkering, but my passion is writing, my passion is storytelling, just writing stories, and so I said to my family, "I need to take a little break." I was starting to get stressed out. I spent 5 days in Maine. I flew to Maine, and I sat for 5 days, wrote, explored, and just had a moment, and I came back completely refreshed. I know many people can't do that, I understand. Even if it's a day. Having children is amazing, being a mom is amazing, but this is a strong belief that I have, and I mentioned this before publicly. There are so few women left who I've come up with in the digital technology space who are founders. Like, I know so many women when I was back in Chicago who were part of the rise of the interwebs and the internet and all the startups who all now have families, they're raising kids. We talk all the time, but they're not in the industry anymore, or their voices aren't as strong as our male counterparts who continue to stay in any, type of digital thing. There are voices there. There are many female voices, but not enough. And it's just because of the reality of being a mom, taking care of kids, not having that support system, whatever it may be, but also elephant in the room to me, society not really still being amenable for the working mom and really understanding what working moms go through. Now, some companies have really accelerated that with benefits and abilities and, mat leave, which is great, and paternity leave, cool, but it's not consistent. So you work and work and work and work and go to college, have this experience, find hope maybe the partner of your life or not. You might decide to have children. And then it's like, I just feel like we're producing, working, and then you kind of have to figure it out, and it's disheartening to me. That's changing. I do think it's changing, but I think it's changing slower than what we need. It's not slower than I want. It's slower than what my daughter needs. My daughter is 14. Jesse, my daughter has already gone globally to understand what it's like to have kids in different countries. Like, no joke.
Wow.
What's it like in France? What's it like in what's the maternity leave like? Because she's so curious when back to your question about being a mom, I've been open with her about, well, when your brother was a baby, I was working because I worked for myself and I had him on my chest and I work at my computer. Or when I had you, I had to go back to work pretty early. Well, she's why? And then she started going down the rabbit hole of research on her own, and then she'd come back to me with, "Oh my goodness, I did not know blah, 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 blah." I don't wanna, list out countries, rules, and regs, of course, but you all can figure it out. It's gotten better, and I think that things online, and how many successful stories you heard of women, whether it's a side hustle that turned into something else or a passion that turned into something else. One book that I read that really helped me is Marie Forleo's book. Oh gosh, something it's about, so I'll send it to you, but it's about getting started. I can't think of the title. It's
Hold on,
blue.
I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, look it up. She's got
Yeah.
a yellow dress and it's a blue background. Marie
Mistrust.
Forleo's book. As Jessie looks it up, it was really about how to start and
Oh,
figure
everything is figure outable?
that one. That
Okay.
one.
Everything
That
is
is
figure
one of my
outable.
favorite books. I read it at a time where I needed some motivation to figure out what I like, different things I wanted to do and how, and setting time in your day for yourself. I don't know what your daily habits are of some Jessie time, but my kids joke and know that, like, on Sundays for the first few hours, don't talk to me. I am reading the New York Times. I have a coffee and I need my paper. Well, now I actually change it to my iPad, just digital subscription, but they just know I am reading, I'm doing my crossword puzzle, and I just need that time.
And, like, like, every so much of what you just said, I appreciated the hell out of, but, like, whether it's a trip to Maine or 30 minutes of just reading what you
Yes.
enjoy to read, the feeling of recharge after those moments for whatever it is for yourself, because I do think it's important to have the self-awareness to figure out what it is that does
Yep.
recharge you, and I also think that that changes every 5 to 10 years or so.
Yes.
That's a whole other thing, but,
Yes.
like, being able to figure out what it is and to be able to, like, respect yourself and to have your family sort of, like, respect that's important to you. It's a really valuable lesson, I think, also to teach your kids. I think that there are so many different philosophies on parenting, of course, and we struggle with that in our household a little bit where it's like, we had candidly pretty shitty childhood. So we're trying to make up for the wrongs of our parents by raising a child differently. But I also wonder if we're, want to overcompensate for that. I also think it's so important to just teach those lessons and like to be the sacrificial lamb is teaching your kids nothing. Like if you are just, I'm never going to take time for myself because I want to be all for my kids. Oh my God, I would never take a trip for myself. Like, what would my kids? There's valuable time that I could be there for them, doing all this stuff for them. They need me. But like, if you need something for yourself, that is such a lesson to take because I don't know, hopefully people who are listening have experienced that, which is when you do find the thing that really like fills you up, that really makes you happy, that really recharges you or relaxes you or whatever it is. Like after doing that thing, you can literally feel like a different person. I mean, you feel like, no, some medication can help with that, but the amount of endorphins and just like your blood pressure, like all the things that it can physically affect you, or it's a beautiful thing. So I think that like there are also lessons in that too. I like the word selfish in
Mhm.
so many people's vocabulary gets such a bad rap. And I've always sort of thought about it differently. I think that giving yourself the space to do things for yourself, like that can be a positive, that can be such a positive thing. I think that there's too much emphasis on being selfless and not enough emphasis on the moments where being selfish is actually a really positive thing.
One thing to note too about different kids' ages to give
Yeah.
if someone's watching this who has a newborn child or 3, 4 years old and you're a working mom, I gotta tell you, there might be times where you miss like, people will say, "Oh, I'll go back to work when the kid's a certain age," but what's interesting is you might miss a step or miss a word or what have you, but what I'm learning having a 14 and 10-year-old because I've chosen to be around more and work differently with different projects. Because of the ages they're in, they've actually needed more of my time as of late, like especially middle school, pre-middle school, and I've changed the way I work and where and compartmentalize my time and my work to make sure that I've got time for those deep discussions that didn't happen when they were 7. They're older now and they get it. So and then if things change again, it's like I've taken that little pause from a traditional work standpoint to build that trust in the relationship, especially with my oldest, a daughter, with as there's a lot of influence and things that young women are challenged with, to build that foundation with her of trust and self-awareness and self-care. Her Sunday skincare routine is better than mine, but I've built that with her. So if things do change, like she's got that foundation. She knows, she can talk to me. So looking back at the kids when they were younger, I'm really glad that I did something that I enjoyed and I worked during those times because they're okay. They were okay. And we've shifted into another piece. Last comment another mom gave me, which I love, Britton, if you're listening. She once said to me, the best advice as a mom was people say chapters. Britton told me there's different seasons. This is the season of X. Whatever situation you're in the season of X. You are in the season of maybe traveling for work twice a month. That's your season. That might change. You're in the season of a big project and you're staying at work for 2 weeks until 10. That really helped me pause with all the different sections of life that I happen to be in. This is the season for this. And I tell the kids when they're old enough to understand, this is the season where mom has to go to a couple of tech conferences this year, for example. And it was just more like, we're having fish for dinner. This is the season of blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
If you position it that way, I think it really helps and helps the family dynamic be on the same page because you got to be on the same page, especially with your partner. That's tough.
Totally, 1,000%, and I think that, just communicating that, like, all being on the same page, kids, partner, like,
Yeah.
family, if you have that support, whatever it is, and I think that, like, that could even be a fun exercise for your kids too. It's like, "Alright, this is mom season for this, like, what is your season right now?"
Oh, right now, my season in our house is Taylor Swift. Could do
Right.
and what is she? Oh, she's also working on her eyeliner tutorial. She's working on her cat eye. It's the season of mastering the cat eye.
That's amazing. It's so funny. Well, your kid is mastering the cat eye, mine is mastering, like, snuggling with the cat, and that's definitely a factor of their age difference. Like, I appreciate your perspective on parenthood, motherhood. Like, I don't think enough of us talk about it. It's maybe easier to talk about, like, the successes in our careers, those
Yeah.
moments that are successful, or even the challenges in our careers. Very few people feel comfortable enough being open and honest about, like, the challenges in being a parent and how they relate. And of course they relate. Like, sometimes you're working more than you're with your family. And so, like, I think that I hope that women going forward feel more and more and more supported in that journey,
Mhm.
because it's definitely like ebbs and flows. The ages of the kids certainly matter, and where you are in your career matters too. And I don't want to feel like women have to sort of like give up one or the other, but I also have experienced what you described too, which is like it's never going to be 50-50
Right.
ever, ever, ever. You know, you were saying you can't have it all. So I don't want to put words in your mouth. And my experience, that sort of equates to like it's never going to be truly 50-50, you know? Like there's never this equal balance, but sometimes it's 75-25, and then other times it's in the opposite direction, kind of
Yes.
what you described, which is like based on what season you're in.
Yes.
So I think that's a really helpful way to just conceptualize it. I think that like honestly half the battle is like wrapping our minds around it. Just like getting into that headspace of like understanding, acceptance, and sort of like this is how we're going to approach this, and then the rest of it sort of like comes from that. It alleviates some of the anxieties around it, I think. So
You can't forget about yourself. I know it seems easier said than done, but whatever your belief system, faith, whatever it is, if anything, one thing that we all can look at and see, yet you have this is your body, that's your temple. Whether it's sleep, whether it's 20 minutes of stretching, your child is going to get older. Your child will thrive. Whether they want to go to trade school or college, whatever it may be, fantastic. You've kept them alive, awesome. But we have to make sure we take care of our physical and mental health. And I'm so thankful that we're talking about that now. I'm so thankful that something like even postpartum depression is being discussed more. It wasn't when I had kids. Just the importance of having that time to eat well, educate yourself, try as best you can. That alone takes up so much real estate. And when you mentioned 75-25, there's been tons of articles about the mental real estate we take in as moms, as women. The play dates, the doctor's appointments, the this, oh, gotta get a Santa hat for school. It's cartoon day, it's whatever it is, we take that on top of, oh, I have to finish that 35-page deck for a presentation in 2 days. And I have to manage a team of 10. So solidarity. I think we've all been there. We're all there. And you're right. I think people don't want to talk about it as much, but nothing will change until we share those stories. Like those of us like me who've been through the ringer have learned a lot. And I'm happy to share those experience and kind of motivate folks. I had a couple of mentors when I was coming up that were just as open. And I think that's why I'm open about it, because they really, as executives and mentors, helped me see what was possible, but they were also realistic. It wasn't, bells and tulips. But it's all upside. We're finally helping each other out and people are educating each other more on what we need.
So we are running low on time, but there is one question that I really want to ask you before we end our time together. So, my last question for you is, as someone who's been in the industry for like 25 plus years,
Mhm.
how do you look forward to the next steps in your career? Like, what does that look like for you? What are the next milestones that you'd like to reach? Like, how do you conceptualize that for yourself? What does that look like for you?
Oh, I love this question. So, because I've seen the birth of different digital technologies, marketing platforms, and so on, it has been amazing for me in my career, and I've used it for my own, businesses, helping my husband, convert his company to a virtual company. But I am also an avid believer in community involvement and really volunteering where I live, contributing to where I live. And What's happening now with artificial intelligence, I think is so exciting. I'm not afraid of it. I think it's fascinating to be able to learn how to use it. So as I evolve in terms of my career, I think what makes sense for me eventually is to use all that technology and marketing and communications that I've done over the years and really start contributing more to where I live, more to my community in some way. So that's what I've always been just out of the corner of my eye looking for of how can I be a better contributor and citizen to where I live, to my community, my kids long term with all of that stuff I've learned from a corporate private perspective over the years. How can I merge the two together? And that really, really excites me.
I love that. I love that so much. I was like really wanting to ask you this question. So I wanted to make sure we had time for it. And I
For
love
sure.
that philosophy. I think that's really beautiful. And you're someone who has recently moved too. So like that community element probably
Mhm.
looks different, but yeah, community is such an important thing and just having like making an impact in that and using everything that you've learned from before and like how does that morph into being applicable today. That's cool. I love that so much. Okay, so I know that you have also your company, Bottles Nation.
Mhm.
I know you have like you're of course on social yourself.
Mhm.
So if our listeners want to reach you, get in touch with you, learn more about you, where can they go and how can they get in touch?
For sure. It's really easy. Because I've been around for so long, I'm able to secure my first name as my domain name. So you could just go to www.blagica, my first name, Blagica.com. All the info and background is there, ways to reach me, email, the whole nine. Feel free to go there and check it out.
Amazing. I have a feeling many people will. Thank you so much for coming on
Yeah,
today and just being so open. And like, I so enjoyed our conversation.
me
And
too.
thank you so much. All of you guys listening, thank you guys too. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And I hope everyone's having a healthy, happy new year. And we will see you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye. See ya.
If you enjoyed this episode, we gotta have you back. Check out our website for more ways to get involved, including all the information you need about joining our collective. You can check out all the information at iamwim.com. Leave us a review, a rating, but the most important thing that we could ask you to do is to share this podcast.
Thanks for listening.
Tune in next week.
Tune in next week.